of how we use social media. It's not just about the platforms themselves.
To the preservation of the national unity and democratic stability.
Water is life, water is an essential service, and we must have to carry out the residents.
Local communities are not only vital to the growth of society, but they also form the bedrock of humanitarian development.
Be mindful of how we use social media. It's not just about the platforms themselves.
To the preservation of the national unity and democratic stability.
Water is life, water is an essential service, and we must have to carry out the residents.
Local communities are not only vital to the growth of society, but they also form the bedrock of humanitarian development.
Be mindful of how we use social media. It's not just about the platforms themselves.
To the preservation of the national unity and democratic stability.
Water is life, water is an essential service, and we must have to carry out the residents.
Local communities are not only vital to the growth of society, but they also form the bedrock of humanitarian development.
Hello there, this is how we welcome you to the reporter on Global Television. I'm Uyi Agmofwebe in for my colleague Aniete Patrick. It has been an eventful week indeed, but we begin with the story about how the Department of State Services, DSS in Kano State, has rescued the kidnapped secretary to Kibia Local Government Council, Hamza Musa. The DSS confirmed that the two suspects have been arrested and are currently undergoing interrogation, while efforts are ongoing to apprehend others still at large. We return to that story later, but let's make progress tonight, everyone, as we continue to look at big stories for you now. At this point in time, we're turning to issues that are different, away from politics and the kidnap in Kano. Of course, let's see a couple of other developments for you. Talks about how that as it stands right now, a couple of things have changed regarding the health sector, and including, of course, the as it were, the education sector. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll back shortly with the rest of the program. Please stay with us.
Be mindful of how we use social media. It's not just about the platforms themselves.
To the preservation of the national unity and democratic stability.
Water is life, water is an essential service, and we must have to carry out the residents.
Local communities are not only vital to the growth of society, but they also form the bedrock of humanitarian development.
Be mindful of how we use social media. It's not just about the platforms themselves.
To the preservation of the national unity and democratic stability.
Water is life, water is an essential service, and we must have to carry out the residents.
Local communities are not only vital to the growth of society, but they also form the bedrock of humanitarian development.
It has indeed been an eventful week, but we'll begin with a story about how the Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria, TRCN, says its digital registration portal is now stable following a temporary breakdown in December caused by technical issues with its former service provider. Registrar of the council, Dr. Ronke Shoyombo, made this known while briefing journalists in Abuja. Our education correspondent, Priscilla Obasi, was there for Global Television and our reports.
The Registrar, Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria, Dr. Ronke Shoyombo, dismissed reports of persistent failures as misleading, noting that examinations would not be scheduled if the system was not fully functional. She explained that the disruption lasted about 1 week before the council disengaged the developer and migrated to a new platform.
And now, conveniently, I can tell you that people that sit for our examination, what we do is we have a service level agreement to actually answer them within 1 week. So if you sit for a computer-based test, within a week, we will print out the result and we also SMS everyone to say, congratulations, you have passed the CBT exam. You may now proceed on our portal to the next line of action.
She, however, acknowledged that some users still face access challenges due to low digital literacy. As to address this, the council has sustained physical registration at state offices, alongside help desk in tertiary institutions and mobile outreach programs, especially in rural communities.
To make it easy for everybody, including people in the village. Because we don't want to actually condemn any group of people at all. Everybody can access us conveniently. And since the launch in 2025, more than 40 million teachers have successfully registered, obtained licenses, and been certified as professional teachers across Nigeria.
TRCN says it is working with stakeholders, including the Nigeria Union of Teachers, to widen access, with plans to launch a mobile application by April, as it's reiterated that all teachers in Nigeria must be registered and certified by the council. Priscilla Obasi reporting for Global Television News.
Incidentally, the reporter, our education correspondent, Priscilla Obasi, is on the show with me. Priscilla, it's good to see you, by the way.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
Right, second time around this weekend. But let's basically talk about this technical glitch that the Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria says has now been resolved. Talk to our viewers as to what led to this development in the first instance.
I don't feel happy having to defend or talk about Nigerian problems because I'm beginning to sound like a pessimist.
Incidentally, this is your field.
Yeah, I'm beginning to sound like a pessimist. I don't know why we always like to blame and blame and blame. Students came out to say, okay, there was some form of technical glitch.
Right.
The registrar has come out to defend the fact that it was some developer that they were working with and they transferred it eventually to save the situation. So it's not our fault. However, there are some students that are battling with digital literacy. It might be that's exactly the same. It might be their fault or it's not our fault. Trust me, our hands are clean. I have written the TRCN exams before. If I haven't written it, then I've had my own fair share of TRCN. You go there and half of the computers, a chunk of the computers are not working. You are clicking and clicking and each other. The first time I went there, I was like, wow, do computers like this still exist? Because you are seeing models of 1990s, 2000s. I am wondering, the last time I saw such computers when I was in primary 6 learning computer. I know those days when you have a computer in the whole school and you have to go there and you hustle to click. When you touch one button, everybody's excited. That was the last time I saw such computers. So we still have problems. Fine, I know that there are students that still have issues with digital literacy that will always complain. That is very true. But we cannot exclude and say, or we cannot totally exonerate the TRCN body and say, we don't have any fair share of this thing. Imagine going to a computer, going to write the CBT exams, and you're already having agitations, from trying to.
Not agitation over whether you have the academic, cerebral requirements, but the technology behind it.
I'm telling you, it already destabilizes you because at that point you're wondering, my time is going, have I clicked? Especially if you don't even have digital literacy. You're wondering, hope my time has not, hope I've not submitted. It mess up with whatever you've read. It just has a way of even making you feel. That's just the reality. So, the whole fire brigade approach to our exams, you wonder, sometimes you will stand for hours waiting for them to call you in. And you're wondering, is it that this exam was announced yesterday? This is something that has been planned for. Did they just give you money to set up these exams or prepare yesterday night? Because that is usually the approach. So we are so backlaid when it comes to anything digital in this country. And even the academic sector, the education sector, where these things are supposed to be, the very first people to, these things are supposed to be seamless because that is where we are learning. That's the sector that takes charge of the teaching and the learning of even the digital literacy. And we are still laid back in that, sector. It just goes to say that electronic certification of results is not possible in Nigeria in the next 20 years. It's really sad. We have to do that.
It's sad. But in 1 minute, does this show that the TRCN at the leadership level is just complaining or taking proactive steps to ensure that it solves this problem?
I have not seen in all of this reports, I didn't see where they said, this is our fault. This is what we'll do better, right? I clearly didn't see that. I only saw a defense mechanism, a blame game, the usual blame.
So we're not apart. This is not our fault.
Yes, it's not our fault. What you heard is not true. This is our own side of the story. Everybody coming to always defend, and all of that. So we need to do better with even profiling solutions. When you say digital literacy is the problem, what are you doing about it? Are you saying that with the NUT you're providing, or maybe the National Union of Teachers, you're putting in structure to ensure that before people come to write exams, you train them at least, reasonably, so that at the end of the day they don't fail because of it. Because some people don't go to school to learn computer science, so you don't expect them to know this thing. But you need to create a platform, even if it's a 1 week, a 1 day event that would ensure that they are well equipped for this examination.
Yes, we totally agree. Well, we'd like to say a big thank you to you at this point, Priscilla Obasi, for taking our time to join us on the program. Right. Let's turn to Abuja now, where there's so much happening already. The APC National Convention is underway. Of course, the series or lineup of events started in the course of the week, but then it all comes to a head this evening as the All Progressives Congress is gearing up to kick off its national convention at the Eagle Square here in Abuja, and of course, as expected, it's going to be at, of course, the Eagle Square here in Abuja, which obviously is, as it were, the venue for events of this magnitude. And we understand there have been so much happening in terms of activities and what have you, and incidentally, it turns out that as it stands today, there's so much of, if you like, slow jam, gridlock across the city center. Global Television had earlier observed a series of activities as part of efforts, including visible signs of, if you like, hustle and bustle. And then, of course, politicians are all over town from the APC's talk this evening, as we can already see. We understand that our correspondent, Ubon Usoro, is live on the ground for us and is going to spend the chunk of this weekend, especially between this Friday night to Saturday morning, helping us to understand what exactly the ruling of Progressives Congress is doing. Ubon, it's good to see you. Thank you for joining us here on the Reporters tonight.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Uwe. Always a pleasure to join you.
All right, so let's begin first off by, just giving our viewers some sort of insight as to what exactly it has been like for the All Progressives Congress, and then essentially what this National Elective Convention is about.
All right, so it's a convention that the APC, the All Progressives Congress, is going to basically select the new leadership of the party, and it meets with the guidelines of INEC guidelines, and also it meets with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So these elected officials of the party will now pilot the affairs of the party it's supposed to be for a tenure of 4 years, but of course we've seen that basically we rarely have a party chairman that completes that tenure, although other offices are always almost sure that they are going to complete the tenure. So it's about a new set of leadership. The whole set of leadership has done 4 years, although a lot of them are still going to be involved in this leadership. But it's about setting up a new set of leadership for the All Progressive Congress, the APC, as I say, the largest political party in Africa.
As it were, some concerns that some members, especially even some who are interested in vying for positions within the leadership structure of the party, are saying about this convention. The sentiments have been kind of mixed, don't you think?
Yeah, for me, I think that the convention is not really that serious, right? Because it's not, it's a convention that is going to be basically people that have already been selected. The language is consensus. So there's a lot of candidates that are going to emerge as a result of consensus. We have very few persons that will, very few offices that you see also, maybe 4 or 5. For the rest of them, the national chairman, the youth leader, the national women leader, the financial secretary of the party, the national auditor of the party, basically all the top positions that would have merited a lot of people to, come out and put energy in, will be going for consensus. So there is little, or there will be little to do as far as, sorting is concerned. Basically, affirmation of the people that have been there. So a lot of the persons that were already in office will also be returning, right? Like the national youth leader of the party, Dayo Israel, is a consensus candidate. So basically, he will just be reaffirmed and confirmed elected. So for me, it's just a coming together of APC faithfuls, to come enjoy, to come sit down together, talk about the party, look at and the party is also very intentional about this convention. There will be a pre-convention lecture where they will have a guest lecturer come to talk about national unity and integration. There will also be key agencies like the Rural Electrification Agency giving a lecture of the things they've been able to do. The NEO Fund will also be giving a lecture, and major intervention of this government will also be giving lectures as to what they've done. So for me, it's not that serious, right? It's not that serious. As when we have the elective convention come 2027. So it's an affair of the APC, family affair, as some will call it, a homecoming for a lot of persons who are of the APC bloc.
Let's talk about one more thing. I mean, you talk to politicians a lot, including those from within the, as it were, fold of the All Progressives Congress. It's going to be a long night for the APC this weekend, no doubt about that. But from what you are hearing, for example, what does it look like for the APC, especially when you put this convention and the expectation or expected outcome side by side, the opposition going into 2027?
I think that the leader of the position, as far as the position politics is concerned in Nigeria, they've shown that when they were in the position, they were very forceful and very diligent in their practice, and that cannot be taken away from them. But for me, I feel that these conventions set the APC apart, because they are the first political party that will be going to their convention, right? The PDP will come a day after the APC. So the APC is like a trailblazer as far as politics in Nigeria is concerned. You may not like them, but that is what they've done. With the e-register, we also saw that the APC was the first political party to come up with the e-register, right? So the party is setting itself as a frontliner in development of new strategies. And for me, I feel that this is a step in the right direction for the party, as it sets the tone for other political parties to copy from 2027.
For this part, I would like to say a big thank you to you for taking the time to join us at this point to just help us understand exactly what's going on and what perhaps members of the APC and indeed Nigeria should expect. Thank you, and I will reconnect with you in the course of Big Talk tonight. All right, great. It's time we turn to, we're still in the North Central tonight, where we understand that the APC is doing a lot more regarding this convention. Let's not turn to North Central, where the zone of the All Progressives Congress has adopted President Bola Tinubu as his sole candidate for the 2027 presidential election. Now, we understand that the endorsement followed a unified position by governors, senators, former ministers, and party stakeholders across the region who threw their weight behind the president's re-election bid. We have a correspondent on the ground in Makurdi, Benue State's capital, Felicity Ndere, who joins us tonight to share some valuable thoughts with us in this regard. Felicity, as always, it's a delight to see you.
Good evening, Mr. Ali.
Your time, but just talk to us basically about the highlights of this particular event where President Bola Tinubu, as expected, had been adopted as a sole candidate.
Well, the sole aim of the gathering of the zonal convention was more of unity, where the states all came together and endorsed President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as their sole candidature for the 2027 general election under the APC. And we will see the unity among the brothers, the state government, former governors and senators, former national members that came together. Everybody was there, and what they had in mind, it was clear. It was a movement of joy, unity, that they all came together under one party and to endorse their president, which is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for the 2027 general election.
That's the much we would like to talk to you about tonight. But we'll stay in touch with you so we continue to track these developments, particularly from your end in Benue State. Thank you so very much, Felicity Ndere, for joining us tonight. And that's all on this installment of The Reporter. Please be sure to subscribe and engage with Global Television across all social media platforms using that Global TV NG, as well as other handles as you now see on your screen. My team and I are grateful to you for taking our time to join us on the program tonight. I'm Uyi Agumofo, still in Abuja, and shortly we'll be bringing you a special edition of Big Talk, focusing essentially on the National Convention of the Ruling All Progressives Congress, and as already highlighted, our political correspondent, Ubongo Soro, will be on the ground for us. Do stay with us.
Be mindful of how we use social media. It's not just about the platforms themselves.
To the preservation of the national unity and democratic stability.
Water is life, water is an essential service, and then we must have to carry out the residents.
Local communities are not only vital to the growth of society, but they also form the bedrock of humanitarian development.